Hello, it is Thursday, July 30th, and thanks to an unanticipated afternoon off, I thought it would be a good time for an update. This is FlossTube number 62. My name is Annette, and I'm in Arizona. So, it's been a couple months, a couple very, very busy months. So, I apologize for not coming sooner, but I've got a lot to show because I've got 2 months worth of stuff. It's been a busy couple of months. But June, there's June. The tape, the bands and the tape are out of town trips, either for work or not for work. And then here's July, so there's still been a lot of stitching going on. There was just a lot of other stuff going on as well. So in June, I did. In addition to 1 week of work travel, I also went to Cincinnati for StitchCon. A lot of other folks, a lot of other FlossTubes have talked about StitchCon, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that. But I will share some wonderful table gifts that I received. The table that I was at this year was actually, there was only 4 of us at the table, and we've known each other for 20 years. If not more so. So it was nice to actually sit through the weekend with folks that I hadn't, in some cases, I hadn't seen for several years. So it was nice to actually catch up and everything. We would have happily welcomed other new folks to our table. It just didn't work out that way. So, but the nice thing is, sitting with people you really get some nice personalized gifts from a table perspective. So one of my friends has a 3D printer, and so she made these little trash can things for orc containers. And of course, I had a red one because she knows that red is my color. So that was great. And then another one of the folks actually stitched little people that look like us individually. So that was a wonderful surprise. And again, it helps when you know somebody for 20 years. She also gave us little mini kohanas, which are great. And then some other, floss and flamingos. She's from Florida, so some other Florida themed things. So if anybody sat with us, they missed out. And then the last table gift was the It's So Emma organizer, again in red. They know me so well. And a really, really nice needle threader, and then a little snap tray. So one of the gals at the table also made 3D printed frogs, and she made many of them. And so folks could come by, and she had a box of different colors, and so folks would come and take a frog or two to hopefully scare them away from their table and their stitching. The only other thing really of note is I actually won a door prize, which is unusual for me, but I did win. And what I got, because there were a number of prizes laid out on the table, and so when your number was drawn, you could go up and pick from what was laid out on the table. And of course, knowing that I'm traveling on an airplane, I wanted to make sure I found something small. And I found this 3D printed box, and it's got holes in the top to be stitched. I did not do the count, but I have no doubt that I can find something to go on the top. But it's very cool. Very nice box. So this will be something that I can anticipate later to put something on the top when I figure out how many holes there are. So I did have a finish at StitchCon, and I was able to bang the gong. They retired the bell this year, and they brought out a small gong. I'll put a picture up that one of my friends took of me with my finish. And what I finished was the America 250 Berry by Erica Michaels. This is in all the called for floss. This is on a 32 count lamb's wool linen, so it's a stiffer linen. I did make a couple of very minor changes. I changed the color of these stars to gold. They were originally charted in white, and I wanted something a little different, so I did those in gold. But I finished that on Saturday at StitchCon. I had started it the couple days before I went, just so I had a good start. And I only had like the 5 in the middle done. I had like the 5 in the middle and part of America stitched. So I finished it on Saturday while I was there. So that was nice. That was the only finish I had for June, because it was a busy month. So, however, in July, I've been on a good roll. So in July, I've had three finishes so far. The first is Fox and Rabbit's Beneath the Waves design, the little fishy. So I did my little fishy. I called him Rocky. He is on a 32 count blue linen of some sort. It's got a little bit of variegation on it, but I don't know the color. So, but yeah, he looks good. I have a couple more of the Beneath the Waves patterns, and I have another couple squares of this fabric that I can do them all on. And then the other piece that I finished is also from Fox and Rabbit. It was a Fox and Rabbit month. So this is their Platitudes design that they did for Nashville this year. I'm holding it this way because there's a chart down there. And I did this one. Well, you're going to see it right now. I did this one, emotionally attached to fictional characters. I did it all in DMC, not the weeks that was called for. I also did not do all the little sprinkly bits around the top, but I did. It's also on silk weaver, vintage silk weaver fabric from my stash, Days Gone By, 32 count linen. So this is very me. This is very me. So, but yeah, so I finished that. It only took 3 or 4 days. The book is a lot of stitching, but it goes pretty quick. And then the bigger finish that I had in July, as I anticipated, was in the month of May from Modern Folk Embroidery. This was released at Spring Mingle. I started it not long after, and I used this as my daily stitching piece, and I did anywhere from 100 to 150 stitches a day, starting in mid-May, and then I finished it on July 13th. This is 36 count linen from Roxy Floss Co. It's a one-of-a-kind, so there's no color name associated with it. And then the silk is from Silks for You PR068, which is kind of a blackened red. And it's beautiful, and I love it. I only put this single initial at the top because my 3 initials would have been very crowded. So I just stuck and kept it simple and just put the A up there. So yeah. I'm very excited. I have signed up for the next monthly sale from Modern Folk Embroidery, which is the Fast Frisian sale. Jacob has charted it in multicolors, similar to the Quick Quaker that was done in April, but I'm actually going to do it monochromatic, and I'm going to go a little out of the box, just a little out of the box. This is my fabric and floss for the Fast Frisian. Cottage Cat Designs. This is a 20 count Ada. The color name is Felix. And the silk is a Silk of the Month from Silks for You from, well, you can see, July 2022. But that blue just glows on that very light gray. Felix is a very light gray fabric. So yeah, so this will be my Fast Frisian start on Saturday when this stitch along starts. Okay, so finishes, a little bit of plan, just a quick plan update, and then let's look at this pile of whips that I have here. So I did have a new start at StitchCon. I started Water Lily by Nora Corbett. One of the other friends at my table also started a Nora Corbett design. A different flower fairy. She picked a different one. I only worked on it for the one day, so not a huge amount, but there she is. All in the called for DMC. This is on a piece of Picture This Plus linen, whose name is escaping me at the moment. I want to say Petal. I'll put it at the bottom. So, but yeah, so this is another another flower fairy. I have a number of the pixies, flower pixies done. So, but this was my StitchCon start, and I haven't picked it up since, and it's not on the August list. So, okay. The next start I had was on June 24th for Pam of Just Keep Stitching's birthday. She chose to start Liberty Bay 1912. This is a Twin Peaks Primitives design. The Norden, one of the twins, passed away in May, and so she chose this design to remember Norden. So I started this on August 24th. Since then, I have worked on it for 20 hours. I have 3,926 stitches done, which is approximately 17.4%. So I started in the lower left corner. Yeah. All in DMC, super easy, but that's the beginning. When I pick it up again next month, I'll come up the border and start in that area. But yeah, very nice, very simple. It's a very relaxing design. Like I said, it's all DMC. It's Pattern Keeper happy because I have the PDF. It's all very, very nice. Very nice. Very nice stitch. And kind of folklore-y, which isn't my normal style, but I like it. So. And then the last new start I had last week, I think, is something I've had kitted in my stash for a long time. So this is Clouds Factory, Egyptian Gods and Goddesses. The reason for the start is that I read the last book that we read for the Absinthe and Shadows book club was Cleopatra. And when I read that, I was like, oh, I need to stitch something Egyptian. So I went digging through what I had already kitted up, and this was there. So I went ahead and started it. So again, I started this on last week, July 24th. I've done 1,451 stitches so far, plus some back stitching. I just wanted to see what it looked like. I'm 19%, a good chunk of that lower left quadrant. I'm doing it on 40 count Bestitch Me even weave, so Verdal, in the color Scroll. It was just too perfect, and it's not going to be that big. Here's the whole piece, so it's not going to be that big. So yeah, that was another start. Not planned, but that's okay. The funny thing is I had 3 starts planned for July, and I didn't start any of them. So I think one I'm going to start tonight, but yeah. So I was due. All right, so on to regular whips. So I'm caught up on the Satsuma Street local conditions. So this is through yesterday at the bottom there. That bottom partial row is the month of July. I will say that it's much more colorful than I anticipated. We had a couple weeks of storms and some lower temperatures, which was kind of nice. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for part of that time because it's when I was traveling, but it does at least make for some differences in the colors for the month. But yeah, so we're caught up. I'm expecting those colors to pretty much continue for the next month or so. But that's okay. The joy of Arizona. All right, so that is up to date. Next, we have the Fox and Rabbit 2026 stitch long. The next part will come out tomorrow, but I am caught up through July. So here I am so far through July. I haven't decided what I'm going to put up here yet, so I've left that blank. But this is on 36 count Picture This Plus Twilight using Sulky 12 Sulky blendable in Buttercup. The color's name is Buttercup. And then the back stitching is done in 744. So that is moving along nicely. We'll see what next month brings. If the pattern continues, it should be a small band that comes out tomorrow, but we'll see. The other thing in this bag is Modern Folk Embroidery, No Time Like the Present. This was the 2024 stitch along. I'm doing it in 2 colors on platinum linen. It's in 814 and 336 are my 2 colors. That bottom corner is all I have left. I am 92.25% complete. No, 96% complete. And I have about 1,400 stitches remaining. So this is going to be a big item in August to make sure I get done. As you can see, I put in the date, so I'm committed. But again, I've only got 1,400 stitches yet left, so I anticipate this being done in about a week. And then it'll get a good press before I show you the finished piece. And I already know what my next Modern Folk Embroidery is. That comes in my retirement investment section of the video. All right, the next thing that I did quite a bit of work on is Lola Crow's Museum After Midnight. This is on 32 count, Picture This Plus, Dapple. And voila, I'm about 1,000 stitches behind. The frame is complete. All the stitches in the frame are complete at this point. I finished the frame when I did these guys up here, which was part 5. And then I'm working on Mr. Beelzebufo down there, which was part of part 6. I haven't put the cord in, but I did put in the Triceratops guy, which is part 7. That was last week's part. That was part of last week. So all I have left to do, I said I got about 1,000 stitches. I need to finish Mr. Beelzebufo. He's got a little bit more on the bottom here. I've got to put the eggs and the little dinosaur down here, and then I need to put in the rope. So about 1,000 stitches. So again, we don't have a new part coming out tomorrow. So next week, I will finish off the stitches. I've done precious little in the way of backstitching. Only the first exhibit here has been backstitched. I haven't backstitched anything else yet. I don't mind leaving the backstitch till the end. I've been stitching for many, many years, and that's kind of how it all started, what you did. But depending upon how long it takes me to get those last two exhibits in there, I may go ahead and start with some of the backstitching. I'm just very leery of, as things are brought out in this general area, I don't want to create a problem. Amy did say not to backstitch the rope because there is another exhibit that's going to come in behind the rope. And I just, yeah, I'm just leery of having that risk. So, all right, so the next piece I worked on is Nutcrackers, Shannon Christine. Picture is up. And now I am over 50% done now. I am now 61%. Last time you saw this guy did not have a head. He now has a head, and he has a little buddy next to him. All right, let's get it all up here. Oh, and hold it straight. Okay, there we go. So I'm now on the top row of Nutcrackers. And I've got four more to do. Another big one on this end, and then two medium-sized ones, a couple of medium-sized ones in there. So yeah. This is all in DMC plus treasure braid. The sparkle stuff is in there, so I have done the metallic for each guy. There's beading required, so there's a row of beads, for example, right there, and his hat. There's some. Anytime every place you see blanks, those are beads, so I'll put those in at the end. There's just a tiny bit of backstitch, nothing really of note. I'll do it when I do the beading. So 61%. So I am still in good shape to finish that this year. I've only got about 7,500 stitches left to go, and that includes the beads. Next, I worked on Thine is the Trick and the Treat. This is the original Prairie Moon chart that I've had for more years than I will admit. There's no date. Good. So yeah, Thine is the Trick and the Treat. I'm not doing it in black. I am doing it multicolored. I picked 4 colors from my Silks for You stash. This is on 40 count Regency from Picture This Plus. And I've only got that upper right page left to do. I finished the lower left page when I worked on it in June, and I've only got the one left to go. So again, this is up for finishing in August. I've already figured out what colors go where. I've already got all that stuff sorted out. But yeah, this will be a good one. Colors are great. So this will be a fun one to finish. Okay. So the next whip I picked up again, America 250. Now we had talked about this before. I was a little about what I had done so far. So America 250, there it is. It started in the lower left corner. Wasn't super thrilled with coverage because I'm using the original kit from last year's Attic Needlework Summer School. With the fabric is 36 count smoky quartz from Fiber on a Whim. and it's all weeks and crescent and a couple of DMC. But I put in a full 10 hours. I put in about 8.5 more hours, and I finished that page, the bottom left page, and kept going. And the more I looked at it, I thought, this works. So I just kept going. I love the color of the fabric, and I'm not usually a 1/2 on 36 count. I usually prefer the more saturation with 2/2, but this works. Given the style, a little bit more of a, I don't want to say prim because that's not it, but just a little lighter, I guess, lighter weight. So yeah, so that's about 8 hours. I have a lot of hours left to go, but I'm happy with this, and I will keep pulling this one out to work on. And I'm very glad that it is now readily available through multiple retailers. So, and then my last WIP is my travel project. I did multiple trips, so my travel project got some work. It is Epis for Flag hands-on design. It's also on a vintage silk weaver, Lugana even weave in purely primitive. So the top is still done. The top is still done. I had that done before. But the sides are well over, I'm in the second half of the sides. Well, there we go. Yes, there's a thread because I was working on it. But, so yeah, there's the sides. Over halfway. So I'd like to finish this one this month, not and just work on it here, because I have some other thoughts for the travel project. So I want to swap out my travel project. I know I will have at least 1 week of travel in August, so I am ripe for a new travel project. But I think I'll try to finish that one in the meantime. So those are all the WIPs. So that was 2, 4, 6, 8, 11 WIPs, 3 of which were new starts. Plus, I have 4 finishes. Yeah, 2 were starts and finishes, but that's okay. Actually, 3 were starts and finishes, but still, 11 WIPs. That's pretty good. Real quick, we'll talk about what's on tap for next month, and then I have some stuff. I got some stuff. So for August, I'm calling it Annihilation August, and I want to finish some of these WIPs. I want to finish No Time Like the Present. I want to finish Thine is the Trick and the Treat. I want to finish Epis for Flag, and maybe even fully finish it. I will start and finish Fast Frisian. And then I have a couple of other older WIPs that I think I'll be able to get close, if not get them finished, get them significantly closer because they're small. Other than that, more Museum After Midnight, more America 250, more Liberty Bay. I want to keep working on that. And I'll bring a couple of other, WIPs out of the vault. The first is a different version of All Souls band sampler, like I did for my kids for their wedding sampler. I actually have it started for me as well. So I'm thinking I want to pull that out. And then I have been itching to pull out Long Dog. So I have Opening Gambit as a WIP. Long Dog. Not very far. I've only got the bottom left corner. This is on 46 count antique white linen, and I'm doing it with sulky thread, 30 weight sulky thread, And it's a dark brown. You can almost see it, but it's perfect. It's perfect for the 46 count, one strand. So I want to see if I can work that in a little bit and make some more progress. It went into Pattern Keeper, no problem. And yeah, it's just been squawking at me a little bit from the pile. Okay. All right. So, two more things. I've got my retirement investing, and I read a few books. So we'll hold the books until the end. Oh, and the other thing that's happening in August is I am going to summer school at the Attic. I saw a preview of a couple of the designs that were going to be part of the retreat, and I really like them. And I know there will be some smaller versions that will go with them, some small projects. So I was like, it's local. It's about a 20-minute drive in the morning to go down there. And it's usually a good time. So I am going to go to summer school. I usually go to the fall retreat that they have in November, but for some reason this year they're not doing it in November, they're doing it in October, and I'm not as enthused, shall we say, about the designers. There's a lot of repeats, and so it's like, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. I am doing the Pacific Northwest Stitchers retreat virtual from Acorns and Threads in September. I'm only going to be there one day because the retreat is Labor Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we're actually going on vacation on that Saturday. So I'll only be able to actually be online on Friday, so I'll have to catch up with anything afterwards. But I still wanted to do it, and they do have a good designer grouping. So those are the only retreat plans I have for the rest of the year. Okay, so stash. StitchCon. Didn't go crazy. Again, fine. This is my StitchCon bag. There were a number of trunk shows, as usual. The brag tables were bragging. They were really good. They had a finished Winter Rose Manor that was absolutely stunning. So I got the chart, and I was able to get the threads from Keepsakes. They had a thing where you could fill out a form, send it over, and they would shop for you and bring it back to you at the convention center, which was very dangerous. But I only took advantage of it for the Winter Rose Manor, and the floss. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do from a fabric perspective. Bought some needles. These are now my favorites. The exclusive for the retreat was from Heart and Hand, and it's called We the Women. This is the design. They had floss tagged and ready to go. And then they also had linen. This is Stormy Night, 40 count Stormy Night. So they had the natural as well, but I like the gray. So this is one of the things I was planning to start in July, but I couldn't start it until I showed you. So I might start it tonight because it's still July, right? A couple other things I bought. I bought the Needleworkers Tiny Town, which was actually on my list to buy there, and the frill. So I got those. That was basically the only thing officially on my list to buy. So I always like to get like to find new fabric dyers that I haven't used before. So this is Millennium Fabrics 36 count linen, beautiful purple. It's a nice purple. And then I bought this piece of Atomic Ranch Oxygen 36 count. That it's so soft. Absolutely, it's Lugana. Ooh, so soft. Very nice. I bought, they had this at Keepsakes, a model, my Christmas list. My spouse loves all things Christmas, so I thought he might, this might be a good thing. He hasn't seen it. And then I bought another Beneath the Waves chart from Shaded Stitchery. I like that one. So I'll put it on that same blue. I'll put it on the same blue linen. And then the last thing I got was an animal cracker. They had the penguin. So I went ahead and got it. And the floss. Now, his hat, I'm probably going to change the color of because it's very pink. This is the color for the hat. It's very pinkish. And I think I want more red. So I'll probably pull something or DMC or something to do his hat. But I think this is going to be my new travel project. Because I can put him on 36 count linen. Oh, I don't know. Look, I have a piece right here that might work nicely. So he'll be my new travel project. So that's what I got at StitchCon. Oh, and I got a needle minder. How could I resist? Starbucks. Not bad. Not bad. I've definitely done worse in previous years. All right. So I also have some of my regular, reaching down. Some of my regular order stuff. I'm on a, I get all the new Nan Mousies and fabric from Silver Needle. So I got the new mouse. This is the animal cracker that I got from Willow Quilt Cottage. I got olive, and it comes with all the stuff. Done. Fabric of the month for June, June bug, green. Not sure what I'm going to use this for, but I will use it. July's is on its way. I'm part of the Fox and Rabbit Patreon, and I get a fat quarter of fabric each quarter due to some shipping and fabric-y things. I got 2 quarters in one this time, so I got a 46 count Helios, which is very pretty. And when I first signed up, I signed up for 40 count, so I got the 40 count Celine. Gray is very pretty. All right, I got those. There I have a bag. So I mentioned that I knew what my next Modern Folk Embroidery was going to be. It's going to be this one, Song of the Nightingale. And I bought the Roxy Floss and the porcelain fabric for that. And that'll be my new Modern Folk Embroidery to start once I finish No Time Like the Present. All right. Also, Evertote Roxy Floss related. Carrie from Roxy Floss posted a whip parade. So then I bought this chart from the Artsy Housewife and the flosses for that chart. Roxy Floss. That Celine fabric may work well for this. And then, of course, I had to have a project bag to put it in. These are my favorite top zip project bags. So I got that. Oh, Boomerang Stitches was a trunk show at StitchCon, but for whatever reason, I did not. I looked at these charts like 3 times and I didn't go buy them, so I had to order them from Stephanie when I got home. So again, another of the Beneath the Waves, and I bought a second pack of thread, and then I got the Trick or Treat. There's the Witch and the Frankenstein and Mrs. Frankenstein, and then the Pirate just came out, so I'll be getting that. So that I got that. And Gary, I saw that the Sunshine Pears for Garon came back in stock, so I bought the Sunshine Pears, and I bought a piece of dark brown nutmeg linen that I think might work. They did not have the called for linen. Okay, the other really cool, very nice purchase. Again, as part of the Fox and Rabbit Patreon, occasionally they'll put out kind of seconds or things that did not die as they were supposed to. So I got a piece of, this is Tuscan Path, a yard, 40 count. It's a little darker than the published, I guess, or anticipated. Yeah, so there it is, Tuscan Path. This yard, it was probably half price of what a normal yard of fabric would be. So yeah, that was a good deal. So I got that. That came in the mail. And then I did buy Vicky at Stitch and Button makes my favorite vinyl type bags, and she had one with dogs, a Tula pink dog. So of course, so I got that. This is a thread holder floss keep thing. Yeah. So that's pretty much. I got some other odds and ends, but nothing exciting. Nothing exciting. Nothing else is exciting. But I think that's enough. I don't have anything else on the way right now except for the Fabric of the Month from Garon for Stephanie. But I'm set for a while. We'll see. Of course, I'll get stuff at Attic, and then I've got the Acres and Thread Retreat coming. So I read a couple books. Like I said, I read Cleopatra for Absinthe and Shadows. Very good. I really liked it. But again, I'm an Egyptian fan, so it was a very different twist on the Cleopatra story. So if you are interested in Cleopatra or you like that type of historical fiction, go for it. I did finish Rhythm of War, Brandon Sanderson. I ended up going back and forth between the audiobook and my Kindle. Worked great, and I'm kind of delaying starting the final book that's available, Wind and Truth, because I don't want it to be over. So I'll probably won't start that until we go on vacation in September. I read It Happened One Summer, Tessa Bailey. That was my first Tessa Bailey. It was okay. And then I also read, excuse me, I buried my book. I read Wings That Bind by Briar Boleyn. It's the Bloodwing Academy. It's the third book in the Bloodwing Academy series. The first book is on Wings of Blood. It's a good series. It's dragons and vampires and other supernatural. I mean, it's good. It's a typical standard romantasy type series, but it's good. But yeah, Wings That Bind, I did. So I read that as well. I'm reading Hamnet now. and I'm reading the next Rivers of. I'm a little behind in Rivers of London, so I'm reading False Value. I think False Value. I think that's the name of it. But I'm listening to those, and that's good. So, all right, I think I got everything. Yep, I got all the plans. I got all the whips. I got all the books. And that's it for me on this lovely July 30th. I should be back in August. And thank you so much for taking the time. Very much appreciate it. Have a fantastic day. Stay cool in the northern hemisphere. Stay warm in the southern hemisphere. Have a fantastic day, and happy stitching.